Today I'll be talking about the must-have supplies that you need for hand sewing any project. Here is my sewing kit that I keep, or where I keep all my sewing supplies. First I'll be going through the little container I use my travel, which is in this box. It's just a box I randomly got from Temu, one of my orders. It had something else packaged in it, but I decided it'd be a good travel container. Anyways, when I'm traveling, I always have to have a sewing needle. I typically use a big eye needle because it's easier to get the thread in there, but you can use any needle that works for your project. I have some thread snips. I really like it because of the color of them. I use these a lot. I have scissors. These I can use for paper or for thread, for example. I always keep those. And I always have some tailor's chalk in different colors like blue, white, and pink. Because you never know what color you're going to need based on the fabric you use. I always have little clips. I just have my small fabric clips because they're easier to carry when you're traveling. But I do also have the bigger clips and recommend them both. Because there are times where you just won't want to pin things. And then of course I have a couple pins, which I have a flat head and a ball head pin. They work very similar to each other. So you don't have to get both pins. I just have the flat pin because I love butterflies. So of course when I saw these, I was like, I have to buy those. I have a seam ripper. I have a needle threader. I only have this one because it came with a kit of supplies I bought. I don't particularly like the needle threaders that are wire because I feel like they always break on me super fast. So I end up finding a metal threader, which I much prefer and like using. And it also allows for 2 different sizes, which is good. That's all I keep in my travel container. Because at the end of the day, it's all you really need if you're traveling. Besides, your thread and your fabric, of course. But, that type of stuff would never fit in this container anyways. Another basic supply you need is a pair of pliers. Because when you're going through multiple layers of fabric, it can help if you have a pair of pliers to pull your needle so your hand won't be hurting as bad. I just have a pair of pliers from the Dollar Tree, but you can get these anywhere. Doesn't have to be the highest quality or nothing. You're just using it to pull your needles through. In my big sewing can, I have my sewing chalk, because this is what I love using to mark. This is what I love using to mark up paper and fabric and stuff. I have some more flat heads, some more little ball heads, and then I have some really small shape pins, I think they're called, super small. I have those for when I need really small pins. But if you're only getting 2 pins, I would recommend the ball head or the flat head pins. Those were I recommend everyone start out with. You don't really need these straight pins unless you're doing really fine work. And then obviously you all need to have some clips because not every project you want to use pins for. Here are what the large fabric clips look like. I have this pouch of supplies that I keep in my sewing box. You don't need a sewing thimble in order to get started, but you should have them as a way to protect your hands, unless you don't care about hurting your hands. Here are the threaders for my sewing needles, in case they break, which I don't think they will, but I couldn't just buy a single pair of sewing threaders. I could not find a single sewing threader, so I ended up getting a whole pack of needle threaders. I have this gauge, which if you're a beginner, you don't really need the gauge. Here are the rest of my really small fabric clips. I have my needles for when my big eye needle gets really worn out. I have a tracing wheel, which I haven't used yet. I was really stupid, and I bought this like leather thimble, which yeah, a lot of people like it, but I have sensory processing issues, so I don't particularly like how it squeezes my hand. So I never use that, but I still own it. Then I have measuring tape in case I need to measure something, which everyone needs a measuring tape. I have a I think it's called like a sailor's sewing hand. I think it's called like a sailor's sewing hand. Okay, if I can remember how to do this. Oh, there we go. But that's basically how it's look. I bought this so that I could protect the palm, like the little fleshy palm part that's near your thumb part. When I'm sewing, I can put this on so I can push things through and not hurt my hand as much. I like it. It's not something like everyone needs, but like if you want to protect your hands, you might like it. People don't need this as like a basic tool, but I really recommend you own it if you do a lot of buttons. Because basically this tool will help keep your buttons very even. That's basically what the tool is designed, which is keeping your buttons spaced very evenly. So it's a nice, cool tool to own. But again, you don't need this if you're just starting out. And then I have a wooden stick that I use for helping to put cotton into like small places, you know, like the feet, or like the toes of like a plushie. That's why I have a stick. I highly recommend you have a stick if you do any plushie making, or like ornaments or anything that basically just needs cotton you put in it. That's all the basic tools I use. This is not like a basic tool because you don't really have to own these in order to do projects, but they're really nice to have. These are metal quilting clamps, so if you ever do quilting, you can roll up your project and you can just have the tiny bit of fabric that you're using out of the clip parts. It's easier to manage, and you can also roll up your quilt when stirring it. So these are called quilting clips. You can find these really easily in plastic versions. With the metal version, you don't get as many as you would with the plastic, but I prefer the metal ones. That's what I got. So these are nice to have if you love quilting. But again, these are not a must-have, just nice. Because you need different types of thread, like sewing and embroidery thread, for example. Then you need whatever fabric you want to use. I'm just happen to be showing you a scrap piece of fabric, but you can use any type of fabric you want. An old t-shirt, sheets, cotton, when you get from the fabric store, it doesn't matter, just any fabric will work. You can even use felt if you want. I just happen to have a scrap piece of paper lying around, but this will get the point across. You need paper so you can make your patterns if you're not gonna like buy all your patterns. If you actually want to make patterns, then you actually need paper. And then if you use computer paper like I do, I recommend having some masking tape or like clear tape handy so you can tape your piece of paper to make bigger patterns than what one sheet will allow. Really nice to have. If you're doing plushies or anything where you want to put eyes into the project, this will really help you set the eyes in really good without having to like struggle as much. They have this version, which is like a ball version, and this one just happened to have googly eyes. The versions without googly eyes, in case you don't like the googly eyes. And this comes in like 3 different sizes. And then there is a company who makes this version, which is like a stick kind of version, or like a pin version. But this one only has 2 different sizes available, which this is the bigger side and this is the smaller side. That's what I mean by 2 different sizes. It's like you can put smaller eyes in with this side and bigger eyes in with this side. With the ball one, when I mean 3 different sizes, I mean like it comes with 3 different balls, which all have different sizes to them. Then you can use whatever you want to mark the paper, whether it's a crayon, a marker, a Prismacolor, erasable colored pencil, or whatnot. When it comes to actually designing the pattern on the computer paper. If you're using something that can be erased when making a pattern, then you want an eraser. So you can erase it when you make a mistake, and you can correct the pattern. My favorite marking tool happens to be Color Erase, Prismacolor Color Erase pencils. That's really what I love using a lot to like make patterns and do like designs and stuff with. Depending on what you're sewing, you'll be wearing zippers. I just happen to keep it in the box that it came with. I have all different types of sizes, like this one and this size. Basically, it has a bunch of different sizes and different colors. This is a set of 120. So I got zippers for a while. I just got mine off of Amazon, if you're curious. But yeah, if you were wanting to make bags, dresses, adapted shirt, pants, those kind of things, zippers are pretty much required. So this is a good thing to have. If you're going to do cross stitching, embroidery, when it comes to sewing, you'll be wearing hoops in all different kinds of shapes and sizes. Like I have some of these like plastic squares and rectangle looking ones. And then I have some wooden round ones in all different kinds of shapes and sizes, just like the square rectangle. I like them both, and I use them depending on the size of the project. These are not all the hoops I own, just some of them. I have normal size paper scissors, which is good for cutting out patterns. I like to have both the small, I like to have scissors that are good for like getting the fine details, and scissors that are good for cutting out those sections. It's always good to have options. This pair is probably from like the Dollar Tree or something, because I don't spend a lot on paper scissors, because I don't feel like there's much of a difference. But the fabric scissors I have are from Fiskars. I love this brand when it comes to fabric scissors. I have both the like normal handle scissors that look just like the paper scissors, only they are for fabric. I happen to have a purple handle one, which I don't have out right now to show y'all, but it looks similar to my paper scissors, just by Fiskars. But I have to say my favorite fabric cutter I've ever owned is this one by Fiskars. It's the one that had the spring action that you can lock. I feel like less pressure gets put on your hand when you're cutting, which is good because I have a family history of having a lot of problems with hand and wrists. So if I can keep my hand and wrists healthier for longer without them hurting, that's all for the better. I have both the normal size scissors, and then I have a detailed version of that, which is spring loaded and locks. This one's also very nice. I do love it too. Also by Fiskars. These are the best things ever if you're constantly losing needles, for example. These are called needle minders. Basically, it has like a magnet on the back of it that will cause your needle to like magnetize to it so it won't drop. And it'll keep your needle in the same spot. And it'll be easier to find if you're like always bumping your needle off or you're always like losing it. Very helpful. But if you're clumsy or you have like ADHD or you're constantly losing objects for whatever reason, this is very handy and I love these. And then the last thing you always need is good lighting. I happen to have one of those magnifying glass lamps that also light up, which is very useful. But you don't have to get the one with the magnifying power. Just get one that just makes good light. Because that's really what you need. That's all the basic supplies they need, with a few good supplies to own if you have a little bit more of a budget and you can get a little bit more stuff. Some of it's nice to have, but they're not required to own. Hope you guys enjoyed the video on all the basic supplies they need, plus with some of the supplies that I feel like you should own if you can afford it. But if you can't afford it, that's fine, because they're not absolutely necessary in order to do hand sewing projects. That's all the sewing supplies that I use, and most of them are the basic supplies that I'd recommend anyone get for their sewing journey. Thank you for watching. Hope you liked it. Like, comment, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you want to watch more videos like this one.